Hello, and welcome. Today, I have with me Miss Yolanda Moore from Pivot Your Weight to Health. And we're going to be talking to her about her GLP-1 journey. Hey, Yolanda, how are you?
I am so good. How are you? Thank you so much for
Ah,
having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. So let's just get right into it. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm Yolanda, and obviously I'm here. You found me on YouTube because of my GLP-1 journey. But in my former life, I was a professional athlete. So I'm a two-time WNBA champion. I played many moons ago. I'm also a former head women's college basketball coach, and I've done so many things. Most recently, I've worked in corporate as a talent and leadership development coach. And so now I am helping women on take back control of their health. Is what I'm here to do.
All right, very good, very good. Also, you're very involved in sports, which tells me you're into fitness, right? And which I know because
Yeah.
I've been watching your channel, so I love that. So tell us what led you up to taking a GLP-1 and what GLP-1 were you actually have you been taking?
Well, what led me to take it was I didn't want to be fat. I got tired of being I got tired of being overweight. I got tired of being just uncomfortable in my body. But I actually was diagnosed with prediabetes, high cholesterol. I was hospitalized 3 times because of my blood pressure. It was at stroke level. And this was all
Mm.
between August of 2023 and like March, April 2024. So I was not only was I like overweight, but I was sick. And I was in menopause and the weight kind of hit me all at once. I started menopause in 2021 with no warning, no preparation, none of that. And just didn't I just was not I was not prioritizing myself. You know how we do as women, we take care of our kids, we're trying to build a career, we're trying to take care of everything, and we let ourselves fall by the wayside. Not intentionally, it's just something that happens. And so I went to the doctor and got all these diagnoses of all these comorbidities. And I'm like, wait a minute, pre-diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, that's all the stuff old people get. Like that's all the stuff. I remember when my great grandmother before she passed, she had all of that. And I was like, what? Am I her? Oh, absolutely not. And then I was doing all the things. Like I said, I'm a former professional athlete. I've been an elite athlete my whole entire life. I've always worked out. I've always not but I've never really had to work out like that to maintain a certain weight. Even years after I stopped playing basketball, before menopause hit, I was pretty fit. Like I was, I wasn't unhealthy or anything like that. I was wearing regular size, like 10, 12s, what I'd always worn my whole life, basically. And then I hit this wall where nothing that I was doing was working. I was working out every day because you know how when you hear people say that you're taking a GLP-1, the first thing they want to say, "Oh, you cheated. Oh, you did, baby. Listen, or all you have to do is this." I was doing all the things. I was working out 3 to 4 times a week. I mean, in the gym working out. I was walking 3 to 4 miles a day, 2 to 3 times a week. I was eating clean. I was doing all the things, but the weight was not going anywhere. And there's a friend of mine, she and I were having the same kind of experience, and I saw her for Thanksgiving, no Thanksgiving 2023. We were having the "I don't wanna be fat" conversation. Like, menopause sucks, and I don't wanna be fat. Well, when I saw her no, that was in, yeah, 2023, but when I saw her, like, in March of 2024, she wasn't fat anymore, and I was like, "My God, what did you do?" And so she told me that she was on a GLP-1, but now I had tried it before. I tried
You did?
semaglutide. I tried semaglutide in 2023. I was in Oregon working out there, and one of my coworkers, she told me about it. And so I tried it. I took 2 now I'm a skeptic, so I was researching and I tried it and nothing happened. I took the first shot and I was like, "When does the appetite suppressant kick in? Because 'Cause I'm still hungry." Like I'm real hungry. So I called the nurse and she was, so the nurse was not an African American. So she was saying, "Oh, well, you're the only person that's this I've ever had, say that they didn't have any, any results or anything like that." So I said, "Okay, I had 4 shots." I said, "I'm gonna take the second one. If it don't work, I'm throwing this stuff in the trash because I don't know what it's doing to me." So I took the second shot. It was 2.5 milligrams. Nothing happened. Like, I mean, I didn't feel any appetite suppressant. I didn't feel fatigue. I didn't feel nausea. I didn't feel nothing. I was like, so this must not work for me. Like, it don't work for me. So it wasn't until I came back to Dallas when I saw my friend and she told me that she had had a similar experience with the semaglutide because that's what I took. She said, "You should try tirzepatide." I said, "Is that what you took?" She was like, "Yeah." "Okay, give me that." So I took my first shot of tirzepatide in July of 2024, and I saw immediate results. But mind you, I was already working out. I was already going to the gym. But nothing like I had been in the gym for 6 to 8 weeks, and I probably lost 6 pounds. And I was
Okay,
on my way back.
so let's go back to that because a lot of people say that we are cheating and they think that we're lazy, right? Let's just say it is what it is. People think that we're
Yeah.
lazy, that we're not doing all the things. You've heard so many times if you would just push back from the table, stop eating that pizza, whatever it is. But you are someone who was an athlete in ideal shape, in great shape, able to run up and down the court. Like if you can do that, you're in pretty good shape, right? And so you're doing all the things and you're still not, losing. And so how did you feel when our girl Serena came out and said she was using it? I'm sure you could relate to her when she
Oh my
said she was
gosh.
doing all the things too.
You know what? It was like a sigh of relief, It
Was
was like
it?
a
Was
sigh,
it
yeah,
really?
it was like a sigh of relief because and let me say this. There are other like I have teammates, former teammates that who have reached out to me because they've seen my transformation and we're all having this same experience with menopause and doing all the things and we're eating clean and doing this, but it's not going anywhere. But when Serena came out, it kind of gave a little bit more validation. I guess for me, I was just relieved to see someone of her caliber say, "Hey, listen, I'm doing all the things." Because when people who haven't gone through that experience, like you know what your body is capable of doing, especially someone who's been an athlete.
Right.
Like I know my body. I know what to do. I'm doing all the things and my body is not responding. And so with her saying that, it it kind of made her human. You know what I mean? Like, and it gave everyday women, not to put her on a pedestal. I don't believe in the whole celebrity kind of thing, but I felt like it was validation for everyday women who are having this struggle, who are like,
Of
listen,
course.
I'm doing all the things that I know to do. You're saying, oh, if you would just, and you know what's so funny? The people who have the most to say about women being on GLP-1s typically haven't entered menopause or they haven't been in this situation where you're trying to do everything that you know to do with a whole new you have a whole new body. Your body is having a whole new hormonal experience that you weren't prepared for mentally, emotionally, physically. There's like no handbook. Like our parents, I'm 51, so we come from a generation. I came from a generation. We didn't have them sit down conversations. Okay, this is how you prepare as a woman. Blah. Blah. It's like, girl, you gonna have to get it how get it how you live. And so
Yeah.
I feel like for her to be vulnerable enough and transparent enough to share what her experience was, it gave validation to a lot of women who aren't athletes, who are, just trying to figure out, okay, what is going on with me right now? Am I crazy? I should be able
Yeah.
to, if I eat right, if I drink water, if I work out, I should be having these results, but I'm not. And it makes you feel like, okay, something must be wrong here if I'm doing all the things that you say if you would only do, but I'm not seeing results. And sometimes, like Serena said, it's not cheating, it's freaking science. It's something that your body needs that it can't get elsewhere, you know?
Yeah. Yes. I love that. And so, you said you were, we could talk about this menopause situation from here till Christmas because it's a real thing. And I'm experiencing, some things with menopause. We talk about it a lot on my channel. I'm going to have you on to talk about this, in real
Girl,
time.
listen.
But one of the things I caught you said was that you were being a size 10, 12. And a 12 is now, because I've just been in the plus size stores and they consider a 12 now a plus size, which, back in the day when everybody loved Marilyn Monroe and her body, she was a size 12. And so I don't consider a size 12 plus size, but now it's considered plus size. What do you think about that? Did you feel plus size in your size 10 and 12s?
Girl, no. I didn't even know plus size was a thing until I got, like, older. Like, it just wasn't it wasn't a thing back when we were when I was coming up in the 90s. It was like, that's what size you wear. It was, to me, it was never a thing. Now, when size got to be a thing was when I kept going up and up and up. Like, okay, I'm in a 16, now I'm trying on 18s. I'm in elastic at this point. Like, when you get to where your size is elastic, you gotta do something different. And I was like, I wasn't okay with that. Like, I just
You
was not
weren't
okay
okay
with
with
that.
it.
I was
Yes.
not okay. Not for me.
And I try to tell some of the young girls, I'm 53, so we're in the same neighborhood here. And I try to tell some of the younger women, like when you get past that, when you start getting past that 10s and 12s, now you're in plus size. Now, like I said, I hear recently they've made 12 plus size, but I think that's when you have to like catch it because I feel like once you start buying bigger clothes, you get bigger. It's just true because you get comfortable, you
Girl.
start buying those stretch pants. And you also said the word fat, which is kind of taboo in the GLP-1 community, but you're like, I don't care. I don't want to be fat. Why do you say the word fat and why are you sticking by that?
Because when we sugarcoat stuff, when we sugarcoat it, make it like, I don't know, like, people just don't want to be honest with themselves. Like, you don't want to be honest, and it's like you take offense to it because in our community, especially in the Black culture, we have, I mean, like, obesity is not just like, now there's a lot of talk about how obese America is. In the Black community, honey, we've been obese. We've been
They still
obese.
are.
We've been
Yeah.
having diabetes and pre-diabetes and high cholesterol, high blood pressure. You just take 72 pills a day and it's okay. Like, we normalize, oh, I just got to take all this medicine. This is my morning medication. I take these 8 for the morning, and
It's
then I
so
got these
true.
19 for the evening. And we normalize that. Well, what you taking it for? Well, I take my high blood pressure medication for my high blood pressure, but then when the high blood pressure medication does something to my kidneys. So then I got to take medication for my kidneys, and then that does something to my thyroid. And then my thyroid, I got to take my thyroid medication, and then that does something that make me have gout. Like, what? Like, that
Yes.
is crazy
So
to me.
true. That is so
You
true.
take it, but it was so normalized. And for me, you say, and I had people in my comments saying, "Oh, well, you shouldn't say fat." Like, first of all, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. I was fat. Okay, I was fat. I was out of shape. I was fat. I was unhealthy, and I needed to do something about it. When we dance around things and we try to say, call something else. There's no nice way to say. You can say overweight, it's still fat. Like, it's morbid obesity. Like, if you have a certain BMI, like a person who is a smaller person, if they have a certain BMI, they would be considered obese, even though looking at them, they're
Yeah.
small. But
Yeah.
I had my sister-in-law who she told me, she said, it wasn't, and she's battled her weight for a while, and she's one of those that's on a lot of medications, and she started taking GLP-1s. And she said, you know what? I used to get offended when I would hear somebody say the word fat. She said, but when I watched your video, like, it made me like look at myself. Because when we don't call a thing, we normalize it as okay.
Yeah, and we say that about everything
It
else,
wasn't
don't we?
okay
But
for me.
yeah. And, I think it's because it has so much that word comes with so much, like, hatred and bullying and, and just being an elementary teacher, the kids calling each other fat. Now they use the term big bags. And, all of that, I think all of that comes with so much baggage that people have, just don't wanna be called that. They wanna be called, we just wanna be called we wanna be called our name. Ultimately, I wanna be called our name. I think we label so much of everything. So many labels around. I'm just so tired of, like, the labels of it all. But I do think that is because the word comes with so many people teasing us, but I think the way you use the word, it's just like, this is it is what it is. I'm not shaming you, I'm just saying I don't wanna be this, and
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah, and you're right. There is a lot of shame in growing up and being teased and all that. I used to get called Big Bird because I was tall. I've been this height like forever. Like I had big feet. I've been wearing a size 12 shoe since I was 12 years old. So I've gone through my years of, experiencing that. We all have. Baby, you gotta do something with that trauma. Like, come on. Like, you just gonna carry it around and wear it as a badge of honor? So every time somebody says something, you just walking around offended all the time. Instead of you looking in the hold a mirror up to yourself and be honest with yourself. So it doesn't matter what anybody else says. I literally, when I saw pictures of myself after the fact, I was upset because nobody said anything. Like I was like nobody said anything. I was literally in the hospital, hospitalized 3 times because of my high blood pressure, and would leave the hospital and go straight to Krispy Kreme.
Jeez Louise. And
And
nobody said
nobody
a
said
word.
anything about that. Nobody says we don't say anything about overeating. We won't pull anybody to the side and say, "Hey, I noticed that." And I get it. I understand why. Because people get offended. People get, "Well, how you going to tell me I'm gaining weight?" Look, I just want to know, are you okay? I just want to know, are you okay? You good? And here's, I'm of this notion. If we were walking getting ready to cross the street and you stepped off the sidewalk and there's a bus coming that you didn't see, and I would you rather me just push you out of the way to safety, or would you rather me say, "Hey, I know you can do whatever you want to do, but there's a bus coming and I just want you to feel okay and I want you to be in your truth, but you about to get hit." Now you can move out of the way if you want to or not, but like the bus is coming, and or would you rather me just push you out of the way to safety and then you don't get hit? You able to get up. You might have a bruise or two, but you can get up and walk and live and go on about your business and go home to your family. Which would you prefer? Push me out of the way. Don't let me get hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I
But
feel
you know
about
what? The thing of it is
that.
you are a confident lady. And I think what happens in the GLP-1 community, just from being in this community and coming in confident, and of course I have my insecurities, which we all do. And maybe your insecurities aren't weight. They may be
Yeah, we
something
all
else you
do.
got going on. You have insecurity. And I think people come in with the insecurities of how they looked and how they've dealt with that for so long. It's like they don't wanna hear it, right? And nobody wants to really hear it. So I think you're right. And, in the African American community, I know it's being a size I was like a size 14, 16, like that nobody will really consider that like, "You're too fat." It would be like, "You got hips and curves, girl.
No.
Work that." Work it out. And
Right.
so nobody really has seen that as too big. So in our community, as long as you didn't have like an a out of control belly, you're in there, right? Even though you got these, the big behind, you got the big hips, and you got the big boobs, like all of that is accepted. And I think the tide is turning now. I really do think the tide is turning on that. And I think also the way we approach it has to be different because it used to be, your grandmother would say, I don't know, my grandmother was always honest, like you're eating too much, you got to turn it down. Now, but she's the same one that would cook pancakes and stand at the stove and cook pancakes until we said we were full. And it's like, don't leave anything on your plate. But at the same time, she's saying, you're
Right.
too big, you're starting to get too big. It's like, well, if you stop cooking those pancakes or those big Sunday dinners. So it's almost like it was a catch 22. Like food was a way for comfort, food was
Yeah.
a way to show you love. But then it was like, I'm feeding you all this, but you're also eating too much. So it was mixed messages,
Right.
right? And so I think that when you get mixed
I agree.
messages like that, it turns into you're overeating. You think you're accepted in the Black community, you are the African American community. But then when you go where that's not that's not what what everybody else is looking like. Everybody else is a size 6 and 8, and then you're looking huge at a 16, 14. So then that's when you realize, like, okay, this is not what's up. And then by that time, you've got so much emotional trauma and all things tied up in that weight that you even put on more, right? People think you might go and lose, but you actually gain more. So it's a continuous cycle. And I think these GLP-1s are just the prescription to break that cycle. I really do. So let me ask you.
I think so too, and I do wanna be clear about I wanted to just say this, like, size like, just because a person is a size 6 or 8 doesn't necessarily mean that they're healthy. Just because a person is a size 14, 16, 18 doesn't mean that they're unhealthy. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that at all. What I'm saying is for me, at that weight and at that size, I was completely unhealthy, and it did not work for me. My body could not carry that much weight.
Yes, yes, a great point, and I say that all the time too. I had some family members, they look slim and trim, they look like they're in good shape, but they're taking those 19 pills in the morning and 19 pills at night just to keep going, like you said. So everything that looks
Right,
good now, haven't you always heard that everything that looks good isn't good, right? It's the same thing with this weight
right.
loss
Yep.
journey. So I wanted to ask you, so you start taking the GLP-1 medication right away. I think you were doing moving and grooving, doing well. And then it sounds like you were exercising and doing all the things. What were your side effects? Did you have any side effects taking the tirzepatide?
So initially, for like the first couple of weeks, I did experience some nausea, but it was not debilitating nausea. It was that car sick kind of feeling, that car sick kind of nausea. And so that's what led me to kind of do my own research as far as because now I'm just out here winging it. I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a guide, I didn't have a any of those kinds of things. I was kind of given the medication and sent along my way. So I started doing research, just educating myself on how am I supposed to eat when I'm not hungry? Because that don't make sense to me. But I need to eat because my body needs fuel. What do I do to combat this nausea? And that first week, the nausea hit. Now again, it wasn't debilitating. It didn't have me where I couldn't move or I couldn't walk. And I've heard stories about that where people are so nauseous where they can't get out of the bed or they're so fatigued and things like that. So I started to learn about how you're supposed to eat with, making sure that you have enough protein, making sure that you have enough fiber, making sure that you exercise, making sure that you hydrate. So I kind of created this system for myself that worked for me. Now, I didn't deviate from the foods that I ate. I ate the same like salmon and chicken and turkey, sweet potatoes, broccoli, carrots, asparagus. Like I didn't really deviate from those things. Turkey bacon. I didn't eat bread. I just didn't even have a taste for it anymore. I didn't eat a lot of pasta. I didn't have a taste for it anymore. All of the sugar which a lot of the inflammation in our bodies comes from the sugar that we eat in our foods. And so I wasn't drinking sodas and things like that. So for me, I didn't really have, like, I've heard of people having stomach paralysis. Thank God I didn't have any of that. I didn't have, like pancreatitis or anything. The biggest side effect for me was the nausea the first few weeks. I would say maybe the first 2 to 3 weeks because my body was getting used to it. If you know anything about the different peptides, like Ozempic has one, what do they call receptor or antagonist? Tirzepatide has
Mhm.
two, and then there's a new one called retatrutide that has three. So tirzepatide has more of the weight loss component than the Ozempic does, because Ozempic was originally to help people with type 2 diabetes. But the
Yes.
evolution of Ozempic or semaglutide was tirzepatide. Now the evolution of tirzepatide is retatrutide. So
Retatrutide. I
I
can't wait
really
for
just
that retatrutide to come out.
yeah, right. That's what it's called. Yeah, that
Yes, I wanna see who
honey,
can get
listen.
it and how they get it and all of that. I just wanna see people actually on it and how it works. But so you're right.
Yeah,
It did.
but
It developed over time. So who knows? Like, can you imagine like down the road, 2, 3, 5 years from now, what this is gonna look like? It's gonna be a lot out there for those people that are struggling. 'Cause we're gonna get to that because I want to ask you about your whole maintenance and how you got your goal. So let me just say,
okay.
you started off at a size 18, 246 pounds, and I in your videos you talk a lot about how your knees and back was killing you. And so now you're down to a
Girl.
6'8", and I love how on your you have these shorts where you're styling and profiling, like, your outfit. I mean, and then the makeup, just all of that, like a cover girl, like, you guys are seeing her now, but trust me, this is a cover girl, right? When she gets it together, she gets it together, okay? And so then you're a 160 so you said you hover anyway between a 168 pounds and 172, and you're 6'1". But when I was
Yeah.
watching some of your videos, you talk about you don't really you said you're not a details person. So you're a big idea, which is kinda I'm like that too, but I am a details person. You said you don't meal prep, you're not into all that. You might make meals for 3 days, and then after that, you go from there. And you said that you don't really believe in counting calories. You called it, like, behavior you changing your behavior. So can you explain what you mean
Right.
by that?
So I have to simplify it for me. Like I know when you get into weight loss and all of that, people talk about being at a calorie deficit and so many macros and so many micros. See, just talking about that, it just jumbles my brain. I need things simple. And I think what gets a lot of people caught up is that they don't understand how they're wired. You're a professional. I'm sure you've taken all kinds of personality assessments. So I know my personality type, and I am a very much a results oriented person. Like I like to get things done and I like to get them done quickly. If I have to stay in the details for too long, it becomes overwhelming for me and I won't do it. I'll procrastinate. So I know some people get hung up on macros and micros and counting calories and weighing food and all those things. And those things are important. I just can't do them. If I'm going to stick to something, I can't I can't I can't like worry myself with that kind of stuff. And so for me, I am big on so when I do my executive coaching, I work a lot with, high level managers and directors and athletes. And so everything is based on behavior because if you're going to change a lifestyle, if you're going to change, how you do anything, it's going to start with your behavior. And behavior is driven by what you believe and what you know about yourself, self-awareness. And so for me, I focus on, okay, what strategy is going to feel most authentic for me where I can stick with it and see some results. And so if I have to make meals for like 7 to 10 days, that is way too much for my brain to handle. But 3 days, I can do that. So I break it up, even though I'm doing the same amount of work. So if I meal prep for these 3 days and then meal prep again starting on day 4 for the next 3 days, I'm still meal prepping for the week. I'm just breaking it up because the way my brain works, if I got to meal prep from Sunday to Sunday, I'm not gonna do it because I'm looking at all the steps that it's gonna take and all the time that it's going to take. And so for when I coach women, I help them understand how they're wired through taking personality assessments, how they're wired, how they think and make decisions to build a strategy that's going to work for them. If you're a person who is like, say, you love being around other people and you're outgoing, you're fun loving, you thrive on that interaction, you don't need to do no at home workouts because you're gonna be there by yourself and you're not gonna do it because you
That's
need
me.
community, you need people, right?
That's me.
So
Mhm.
so when you know that about yourself, you're not gonna waste time signing up for home workout stuff because you're not gonna do it. But most people don't take the time to recognize their behaviors, recognize that about themselves. And on the contrary, if you're someone who is, very driven, you can work independently or with a group, it don't matter. You're high, you're very, very driven like myself. I can do an at-home workout because I don't need nobody to hold my hand. I don't have to have anybody there. But at the same time, if I have to be in a group, I can be in a group as well. But I know that about myself, right? Most
Mhm.
people don't understand how they're wired. If you are a person who is very detail oriented, very conscientious and you like to know what is going on, why you doing it, how you doing it, what are all the steps, you like it's a high C on the disc scale, it's a high C personality. Then you may be a person who can meal prep and who can count calories and who can do all those things because you want to know what's under the hood like that. You're very
Yes.
much so that would work for you. You don't need to be in a program where they just give you the information and tell you to go and nothing else. You don't understand it. That's not going to work for you. So I am all for creating strategies that feel most authentic to how you're naturally wired, how you would do anything in your life. That's how your health strategy needs to be. Your workout strategy needs to be aligned with how you think and make decisions. Your meal prep, like all the systems that you put in place for you in on your health journey need to be authentic to how you're already wired and how you already do things. That's why one size doesn't fit all when it comes to these different programs that people sign up for. Like you signing up for all this stuff and you're not going to do it because you're not wired that way.
Yes, and I love that, and you said this earlier as a professional when we were talking, as a professional and as an educator, you kinda know that, right? All your students are different and you give a general assignment, but you still have to tweak it based on the needs of the child, and I think that that's what we're missing in our GLP-1 community or why people get so lost with the comparison of it all, like they compare what they're doing. When I'm watching your videos and stuff, you talk about how much exercise you're doing. Like to me, that's like, geez, when you said you're doing that much exercise, I'm thinking, I could never do that. But why would I even compare myself and think I should? Because, you're an athlete, you have experience working out. You obviously that's a love and a passion of yours. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good if I can get in my three
Exactly.
times a week. And so I think a lot of times when we're comparing ourselves or people or structures and systems are built, it's like something for the masses. It's not ever tapered. And that's why coaches are great, right? Because that's what the coaches, ultimately they do. So what when I heard your exercise
Absolutely.
routine, I thought, what in the world is this lady? Tell us what you're doing. Cause you made this statement. I was washing dishes and watching you. And I was like, I should have put this in the dishwasher so I could pay more attention. But you were saying Nina, you were talking about your exercise, and this is so funny. You were saying, "Oh, I work out." I want to say you say you work out 3 times a week. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then you said you have a reset that your reset time, and your reset time. You were like, "Oh, I do Pilates. Oh, I do." I thought when your reset time, you were just chilling out, maxing and relaxing. You're still working out. You're like, "I'm doing
Oh,
other
so
things." Yeah,
so
tell us
yeah,
about that.
so rest, it's called active rest, right?
Active
So
rest. That's what it was.
I'm in the gym 4 days a week. That's my weight training because if you on GLP-1s, baby, if you don't want to look like a California raisin, you better be in there building you some muscle. Like you don't want to look irregular at all. So I do that 4 days a week. And so on the days that I'm not lifting weights, I'm doing something else and it's called active rest. Now, I walk every day. Like I walk in the mornings and I try to walk I'm definitely going to get a walk in the morning and I try to walk in the evenings as well because I don't do a whole lot of running. I don't do cardio when I go to the gym. I just go and I lift weights, but I do like a circuit. So I'm always getting my heart rate up. I'm not just in the gym piddling around, congregating and doing all like I'm working when I'm in there. Like I don't be doing all that extra. So I'm working. But let's say I go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Those are my weightlifting days. On Wednesdays, Saturdays, and say Sunday, I find a fun activity or something else to do that's called active rest. That's not going to require me to have as much output as my weightlifting when I'm lifting weights. So it could be going cycling. It could now I don't swim, but just to give you an idea, active rest could be swimming. Active rest could be you cleaning your house from top to bottom, cleaning out the garage, cutting grass, like something that is going to keep your body moving, but it's not going to take any extra like extra energy if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Now let me ask you, because this is something I was against at first. Not against, I just didn't have an interest in it. But I was learned to have one. But so a DEXA scan. Have you ever had a DEXA scan? What do you think about DEXA scans? What's your
So
thought?
I have heard of DEXA scan. So a company, Hume Health, and I did a collaboration with them, a body composition analyzer. I love it. I stand by it. The one from Hume Health, it gives you so much data. It's like having a DEXA scan or like an in-body scan at home, because
At home.
you get to see not just because the number on the scale only tells you a part of the story. And so many people get hung up on the weight, the number on the scale, when your weight may not be moving or it may be going up. But if you look deeper, your body fat is lower, your visceral fat is lower, your muscle mass has increased. Like, you have
Mhm.
all of these other positives that are happening, but you get frustrated because you see the number on the scale not saying what you wanted to say. So I'm all for any kind of body composition, body analyzer scale. I think everybody, especially on GLP-1s, you should invest in it, because you'll get to see exactly where you should be focusing your attention. Like the one that I have from Hume Health, it shows you in your arms, in your legs, how much muscle mass you have, if it's too high, if it's too low, if it's standard. It tells you your water intake, if you have too much water, because you can drink too much water, if it's high, if it's low, or if it's standard. Your visceral fat, which is the issue for me right now, my body fat is low, my visceral fat is low. That's a good problem to have for me, right?
Mhm.
But it also tells you your metabolic age. It tells you your BMI. You can go further with it, and you can track your sleeping habits and all kinds of things. So I'm all for any kind of body composition scale, because it's when you're on a GLP-1, you should be thinking body recomposition, which is building muscle while.
So you s
Okay.
so you said when you're taking the GLP when you so you said when you're taking the GLP-1, you should be doing focusing on your body count.
Absolutely. Body recomposition, meaning, and all that is you're building muscle while you're losing fat. You focus on
So
building
building
muscle
muscle while losing
while you're
fat.
losing fat. Yes. And so anybody on a GLP-1, and you can get a body composition scale from anywhere. I recommend the one from Hume Health because it gives you so many data points. It has 98% accuracy, and it just gives you so much information, so you'll know what to target, and it'll help you understand that the number on the scale is only a small part of the story. It's so much going on in your body outside of the three numbers that you see on that scale that give us so much anxiety, and it helps you to stop obsessing over the number on the scale. I tell women to take your eyes off of outcome. Like, don't have outcome goals, but just have action goals, because we really can't control the outcome. I had no idea that I was going to lose 80 something pounds in 8 months. I didn't start out with that as the goal. I just didn't want to be fat. Like, can I just not be fat, and can I be healthy again? Can I walk up the steps without feeling like it sounds like somebody behind me and I'm the only person there? Like, it's me, just thighs and
Yes.
everything rubbing together, making all that noise, right? So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the body analyzers, the in bodies, the Dex, like all of that. I'm 100%
Okay.
for it.
Now, so let me ask you real quick. How much so you didn't you're not a calorie counter. How did you know you weren't eating how did you know you were eating enough? Like how did you just listen to your body?
I did that, and honey, that's why you got Google and Chat GPT. Okay, how many pieces is 30 ounces or 30 grams of protein? Okay, don't tell me grams, tell me pieces. Okay, one palm size of chicken, I can do that. I can pick up a piece of
Mhm.
chicken and see, oh, okay, that's enough. All right, like
Okay.
I can do that. The grams and the ounces, I'm not doing all that. I'm not gonna weigh nothing. Okay, so again, simplify it. I had to simplify it for me, right? So if however many ounces of rice is that's a cup, okay, I can do a cup. Like, I got a cup,
Right.
I can
Yeah.
do a cup. Like, so just simplify it. Like, I had to make it work for me, because I'm not gonna do all that. I know I'm not gonna weigh my food. I know I'm not gonna be charting macros and micros, or I'm not gonna do all that. That's too many steps for me. So I
Yeah.
know that about me. So I work to simplify the process for myself. And that's what I suggest anybody can do. If you're a person who needs the numbers, who needs to track it because that's how your brain is wired, then please do that. But if you're a person like me, if I got to do all that, that's going to be so overwhelming for me. I'm finna go to Five Guys. That's what I'm finna do. Let them measure it.
Let them measure. That is so funny. So how much protein were you getting in? Did you keep track of that?
So honestly, for breakfast, I would eat like 2 to 3 pieces of turkey bacon. And I still do this now. I eat 2 to 3 pieces of turkey bacon, but I did eat throughout the day. I did not. I just changed what I was eating. I would eat like Greek yogurt, whatever the little cup, however many grams that is. I would eat me one. If I wasn't full, I'll eat another one or half of one until I'm full. And then I wouldn't force myself to eat like just I w so in the mornings, I tried to eat within 90 minutes of waking up. Even if I was hungry or not, I would make sure I did that. Then throughout the day, whenever I would snack, instead of me snacking on a Reese's cup and some sour cream and onion potato chips, I got an apple and some peanut butter. I got,
Okay.
like some grapes. I can't do almonds because they don't taste like nothing. I don't eat avocado because it don't taste like nothing. Like, so I ate foods that were good for me that I actually like. Now, it limited my variety, but I was okay with that.
Okay.
As long as it was something that I could eat, that I liked, I was good with it. I didn't care if I ate the same thing over and over again. That was fine with me. But that's what worked for me, right?
Yeah.
Because that's simple. That's simple. If I had 100 different foods to choose from, I'm finna go to Five Guys because
I
that's
love that. You said,
overwhelming for me.
we go to Five Guys and let them figure it out.
Yeah, let them. They only have like 4 or 5 items, right? So
Okay, so let me jump on this, and I don't want to lose this thought that I have. So you said you eat within 90 minutes of getting up. I remember that was a thing like back in the day where now the thing is intermittent fasting. Don't eat until you pretty much you need to. Or give yourself that window in the 16-8 or however whatever people are doing
right.
for intermittent fasting. How do you feel about that? Have you tried that? Would you try that?
I've tried it before, and I've actually recommended for a couple of my clients. And for one of the ladies, like it worked for her because she needed a system. For me, when I was on the GLP-1s, because it suppresses your appetite, so you can go all day and not eat. Your
Yeah.
body still needs fuel. Like, even though you're not hungry, your body still needs fuel. You still have to feed your body. And so for me, that was my okay, I need to eat within 90 minutes of waking up. So I would load my breakfast with protein. I'm eating turkey sausage, turkey bacon, or and some eggs. Um, I would put salsa, like pico. I would do some spinach, mushrooms. Like I would load my eggs up. I wouldn't just eat plain eggs, scrambled eggs, or I'd eat some boiled eggs, and that would be it. And then for my lunch, when I ate midday, it was always like a big salad, and I would have like a chicken breast or some salmon. Now I tore the frame out of salmon. Like I could eat salmon every day. And so that was typically my whatever I had for lunch, I would typically have that for dinner. Like, so if I ate a salad with some salmon for lunch, I'm going to have the same salad with salmon for dinner, and I may add a sweet potato to it. And then that was like it. And again, my snacks in between were just fruits or Greek yogurt, or I like cashews. I don't think they're the best, but I like them. I couldn't eat almonds. So I would just eat me like a handful of cashews. Again, my appetite was suppressed. So I didn't really eat a whole lot, but I just made sure that the foods that I did eat were foods that were going to fuel me and add some nutritional value versus eating the junk that I was eating before.
So a lot of people ask, and I'm struggling with this on 12.5, and it's better. But when I first got on 12.5, I got on because of the food noise. And a lot of, people have been asking, and probably you too as well. How do you eat when you're not hungry? What do you tell people about that?
I remind people, like I remind myself, even though I'm not this is my car, right? Like this body is my vehicle. It needs fuel. It has to have fuel to run. And so I learned to eat to fuel my body instead of just eating for fun, right? So I know that if the way to beat fatigue, the way to beat tiredness and all of those things, a lot of it when you're on GLP-1s is because your body is on empty. It has no fuel. So you've got to fuel your body. So it's just like a reminder. It's like you getting your oil changed. Like you going to go get your oil changed regularly so your car can run right? Or you're going to be buying a new
Yeah.
transmission at some point.
Yeah.
You don't wait for the oil light to come on. A lot of times, well, you shouldn't. You know that at a certain mileage, you should be looking at getting your oil changed. So you try to do it before the oil light comes on, because you know if your oil light come on, you in danger.
Yes.
You in danger, girl. So
You're
it's
in
the
danger,
same
girl.
thing, right? It's the same thing with your body. You just and if you have to set reminders to eat, like snack, and it doesn't have to be a whole lot. Like, it just doesn't have to be a whole lot. There the biggest thing is the protein, because protein it helps you stay fuller longer, and it fuels your body more. And so if you can focus on, and you don't have to get protein from meat, you can get protein from beans and from like kale and different, different vegetables if you don't want to eat meat all the time.
Yes. Okay. Well, I love that analogy of the engine in the car and the gas, when you run out of, even when you run out of gas and that light comes on, it even warns you, right? And that's why I think we see a lot of tired people, and that's what I was experiencing, like fatigue, and it was because I wasn't eating and getting enough. So I love that analogy, and that's a great way to look at it. I've also suggested people set timers, and I need to do that even for myself. But I was also trying to intermittent fast. And it's like, I think people have fatigue with this GLP-1 like me when I'm so far in, because you're past a year, I'm 18 months. I think you have fatigue, and you probably don't, because you didn't oversimplify it, right? You made it simple. But I think you
Yeah,
start
I
to
ain't
get fatigue when
overcomplicated.
yeah, it's overcomplicated. You're trying to do all the things. And when you're trying to do all the things, that is how you tire yourself out. So I can see why people who are I'm trying to get the protein in. People say intermittent fasting. I'm trying to do that. Then people say, no, you need to eat, 100 grams of protein. No, you only need 80. Oh, well, you can't eat a lot of carbs. Oh, yes, you can. You can eat beans. Well, if eat beans, I'm past my 20 grams of carbs for the day. So it's so much. It's so many different things out there. I think the best thing you said was you got to tailor it to you and your personality. And just like I say with exercise, the best exercise for me is what? The exercise I'm going to actually do, right? And the best
Exactly.
exercise for somebody else is what they're actually going to do. And we know all this stuff can be great, but if I'm not going to do it, it's not great for me because I won't do it.
Exactly.
So I love
Exactly.
that. I
You're
love how you
absolutely right.
yeah, I love how you talk about, building your system around what you're going to do, not what the best system is, because the best system may not fit into what you could do at this point in your journey. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So let me
Right.
ask you, so you were exercising it out. So you're in maintenance now, and you're one of the first people that I've heard say out loud. Now, that doesn't mean you're the first. It's just the first person I heard who said,
Right.
you know what? I'm not a GOP lifer. And I was watching one of your videos where you said when you wish you could do some things over, or looking back, one of the things you said was you would start with an exit plan in mind. You said most people
Yeah.
aren't starting with the exit plan. And you said that's important because when you don't start with a goal, an end goal, you don't really have a direction, right? You're just kind of doing
Right.
things. And so why, I feel like it's like people have made this like a shameful thing to say, or like almost like if you're not saying this, you're not proud to be on the GLP-1, which I am proud to be on the GLP-1. I think it's a great tool. But I
Absolutely.
also came into it thinking I want to get off of it. Like I don't want to be on the medication for the rest of my life. Now I've kind of changed, Yolanda, because I will say I don't know how inflammation and all of that is going to look for me. Like I love to be able to run up the stairs and my knees don't hurt.
Mhm.
Like that's just
Yeah.
a great thing for me. Right. So so you're in maintenance, you're off of it. You've been off of the GLP-1. How are you doing? And did you get inflammation? We all want to know that. Do you have any inflammation going on?
So So I've been off the GLP-1 since I think I took my last shot in May. It was sometime in May. So it's going on like 4 months. I haven't had any inflammation. The food noise is back, but it's not like super aggressive or anything that I can't maintain. And when I was doing my research, and I have a friend, I had no idea. She's like, I've been on the GLP-1 for the last 10 years.
10
She's like,
years?
I was like, why? She had some medical. Okay, so she's a nurse practitioner. They use
Okay.
GLP-1s for other things. Like they
Yes.
use GLP-1s to
It was like
treat
a smooth slash.
yeah, they use GLP-1s to treat respiratory issues. They use GLP-1, like GLP-1s are used within the medical field for things other than diabetes and weight management. Let's just put
Yeah.
that out there, and you can research that yourself. Like that is a known fact. And so she was telling me that she's been on it for something else that has nothing to do with weight or diabetes. Like it wasn't related to either of those things. And so I was like, I didn't even know you could be on it for that long. She's like, yeah, it's used to treat this and this. And she was like running off like what all is used to treat. My thing was I didn't ever want to feel like I'm psychologically dependent on a medicine like to lose weight. For me, I needed the momentum. It gave me the momentum that I needed, and I started to see progress. So the habits that I was building, like the working out and stuff like that, I could see my progress. So it helped me be motivated to do more. But also, it gave me the time to realize, okay, I didn't even know that I was using food as a crutch. I didn't know that whenever I had a problem, I was turning to food when I should have been turning to God. I didn't know that I was using food to soothe so many things, to solve so many issues, or to escape from my own issues of life that I didn't feel like I had the capacity to deal with. Oh, I'm sad. I'm going to take myself out to eat. Oh, I'm anxious. I was big on, oh, I need me a Coke. I need me a Coke. I need a Coke. I just need to feel the little fizz part right here. It
Mhm.
wasn't really a Coke, it was a ginger ale. Baby, I could throw a ginger ale back like I was Ned the Wino, okay? I could throw a 12-pack of ginger ale back by myself. Like, I don't drink alcohol, but you think about all of that sugar, and so I just didn't wanna be psychologically dependent, and I know people that you can do maintenance. Maintenance can look like you take 1 shot a quarter. Like for some people, a high dosage, like a 10 milligram shot or a 15 milligram shot, and you take it once a quarter. Some people take a shot once a month. Some people take like for maintenance. And I understand that. I just went in with it because I did not know that much about it, and all I heard was the bad stuff. Like, oh, if you get on it, you're never gonna be able to come off it, and if as soon as you come off of it, you gonna gain all your weight back. I'm like, but that can't be true. Like that was just my mind initially went, that can't be true. And so I saw videos and I saw interviews of women who like, yeah, I was on a GLP-1, like a few years ago. I was on it for 2 to 3 years. Now I will say this, the average time that people stay on it is like 2 to 3 years, like to really regulate their system and help them establish, the habits and stuff, but they're on very low doses. I mean, like 2.5, 3.5. My highest dosage was 10 milligrams. So I went weekly to biweekly to like monthly. And then I tapered off. Like my last shot again was in May. And so going on 4 months, would I take something for maintenance? If I felt like I wanted to or I felt like I needed to, I would. Like I'm not like, but right now I feel fine. I feel confident in the habits that I've developed. I feel confident that my relationship with food is that I have a good relationship with food. I feel confident that I have the fortitude to, when I am craving a ginger ale, I can go get some water and put some lemon in it. You know what I mean? But that
Mhm.
took intention, and it takes intention. It takes focus. It takes discipline. I'm sure if I stop doing the things that I'm doing, I'm sure I'll gain the weight back. If I stop working out, if I stop, making good choices, if I stop asking myself or questioning, okay, are you hungry right now or are you bored? Are you hungry or are you frustrated? Are you hungry or are you sad? Why are you eat? Okay, let's go take a walk first and then come back. And if you still hungry, okay, then we can eat. That's that. Am I eating for fuel? Am I eating to live or am I living to eat? That's that.
Yeah.
That's that me, like constantly making sure that I'm treating my body well and I'm eating to live and not just living to eat.
But what about the people who say, "Why do you wanna think about it so hard? Why don't you just use the tool to help you?"
Because to me, when you use it that way, and it's when people think like that, to me, it's not using it as a tool, it's using it as a crutch. Oh, just take you a shot. Well, what if something happens and the shot is no longer available? Then what? Be it, this administration we got, if too many people getting healthy, then it's not going to be, they may say, oh, we banning all the GLP-1s. Then what you going to do? Or if you can no longer afford it, or if you no longer have access to it, or if your body starts to like, what are you going to do then? Is my point. Now, again, there are some people who do the maintenance, or who just take the shot because they don't want to do the other work. Like, they don't want to do the mental work, or they don't want, and it's fine. Like, whatever works for you, do what works for you. I'm not knocking either way. If you just want to take the shot and not work out and still lose weight, hey, have at it. It's there for that reason. I don't think that anybody is, no matter what the stigma may be around it, people are going to use it. It
For
doesn't
sure.
it doesn't matter. People are gonna use it. I just say do what works for you. You know what I mean? Do what works for you. Now, if I decide in December, if I start getting bloated or whatever, and I decide I want to take me a shot, I'll do that. But it won't be just because I feel like, I can't live without it. I never want. There are some people who psychologically feel like they can't thrive without it. And I just didn't want that to be me. I didn't want that to be me. So that was my mindset going in. I didn't want to have that mindset.
Okay, all right, very good. And I know somebody who, and not just one person, but maybe another person too. That when they were doing all the things, they have a system built, they have habits and all that, and as soon as they stop taking the medication, and we've heard this, people go up like 10 pounds. They go up 10 pounds, and all that probably is water and inflammation. That maybe the
Yeah.
medicine was, holding back. So, did you experience that?
I hadn't yet, thank God. Like
No.
I said,
Okay.
my lowest weight when I took my last shot, I weighed like 162. But I didn't want to be that small anyway. Like, I mean, like, so for me, now that I'm off it, I've gained what? Like, I'm at 168. I go between 168 and 170. I wanted to be back at my regular weight before menopause hit, and that was like 174, 175, something like that. So I'm okay with this, where I
Okay.
am. Um, and I think on average, I think people gain, I don't know what it is, but when people come off of it, they gain, like, you gain a certain amount of the weight back, a small percentage of it. But then again, when you've developed habits, and because too, our bodies are doing what it does, our hormones, we've got to be mindful of those things being a part of the equation as well,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Very good. So I want to ask you this. I can't not ask you this. How I want to know, because you talk a lot about this on your channel, and you talk about God and all God has done for you. And I love that. And you say how you say that God has brought you through so many things in your this journey of life at 51 years. How has your spirituality shaped this weight loss journey for you?
Oh my gosh, child. For me, when I started, obviously it was about the weight because, again, I didn't want to be fat. But I learned that it was about so much more. Like, God doesn't want us sick. Like, he didn't design our bodies to be sick. He doesn't want us. He says in his word, so many different scriptures, but he tells us, beloved, I wish that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. He tells us that, our bodies are not our own, like we were bought with a price. Like, we are here to glorify and to serve him. Like, our lives, what we do should bring honor and glory to God, so that people who won't step foot in a church can see God at work in us and say, okay, I want to know what you got going on, who you serve, who is that God that you serve. But if we sick, broke down, decrepit, broke, ain't nobody gonna want to be a part of that. Nobody wants to be a part of that. And what I found in this process, the Lord, you know, it was it's this mantra that I got. Like, we all are here. Ephesians 2:10 is that we were created as part of God's handiwork for a work that was designed for us to do before we came into the earth. So we came here with an assignment. The way we look, the way we sound, the way we built, the region that we're built, that we're born in, all those things were intricately and specifically and strategically done for us to carry out our assignment and have the impact that we're supposed to have on whatever group of people God has assigned us to, right? That
Mm-hmm.
purpose deserves a body that can carry it. If you are sick, if you are inflamed, if you lack mental clarity, if you are emotionally, in emotional turmoil all the time, how can you do the work that God has called you to do? How? How can you do it effectively? Somebody's depending on you to show up for them to get their breakthrough. You could say something and I could say the same thing. The people that are assigned to your voice, I could say the same thing you're saying. It's not going to click. But when they hear you say it, something's going to happen, and vice versa. We don't, those of us who call ourselves believers and Christians, I don't think we take our assignment serious enough. We will have to give account for everything that we did and didn't do, every word we said or
Yes,
didn't say,
yes.
every gift we had that we used and didn't use, and the way that we use it. Like, we gonna have to give account for that. And so, I want to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Like, that's my goal.
Absolutely.
That's what
Absolutely.
I want. And so, for me to be effective in the earth, my car has to be in good top condition. So I have to treat it right. I have to get it in an optimal shape, in optimal health, so that I can carry out the work that I was put in this earth to do. And so that some of the things that I'm asking the Lord for, He can bless me with. Because sometimes we're asking for things that we don't have the ability to handle.
Hey, in the church, I think a lot of times, and I haven't been to every church, but they set you up. I say set people up for success. The church doesn't always set you up for success they're not really preaching about eating healthy. Sometimes the pastor's not. The pastor's overweight. They're eating those meals after church, the fried fish, the fried this, the fried that, heavy on the carbs, the mac and cheese with extra, extra butter and, and cheese. So, a lot of that, and it's learned behavior. So that's why I
Yep.
say, I'll just use myself as an example. If I've been having these habits for all these years, now that the GLP-1 is here, I still have work to do because the
Yep.
GLP-1 isn't going to solve my emotional issues and my emotional bond with food. Like, I'm going to have to learn, like you were giving examples earlier, is when feel a need to eat for emotional reasons, do this instead. So that's
Right.
just learned behavior, and it takes a time. We know learned behavior. It takes time, right? It doesn't happen overnight. So I think that's great. I think that you have a great message there, and let God be with us all. I always say, let God order your steps. When you let God order your steps, you really can't go wrong. You really can't.
No,
So,
not at
all
all.
right. So let me ask you, we're almost at the end here. What advice, like if you could give one piece of advice to a newbie, a beginner using these GLP-1s, what would you say?
Um, the first thing that I would say is to start, like, go in plan like with the mindset of, you're like, the medication is a tool. You still have to do the work. Like, go in with the mindset that this is a tool that God has provided for me to, take back control of my health. But you have to be honest with yourself about whether or not you're ready to do the work. So I would say, be like, do a self-assessment, a real self-assessment, and ask yourself, am I really ready to do the work that it's going to require so that I can have success on GLP-1s and not just let the medication do all the work? Because I feel like when you let the medication do all the work, you do more harm to your body than good.
Why you say that?
Because if you are, I know people who take the medication, but they still eat whatever they want to eat. They still eat the fried foods. They still drinking sodas like they about to stop making sodas in the earth. Like, they don't exercise or anything.
Well, Miss Pivot Your Way to Health, what's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, isn't that what got you in the in with the high cholesterol and the high blood pressure to begin with? Like, you may be losing weight, but you that doesn't mean that you're healthy.
Yes. Yeah. And I think a lot of us are realizing that. A lot of us are realizing that, you gotta make a change in order to be successful. I think that's great advice. I love your no nonsense. You're like, huh, that isn't how you got here. All
I
right, so
mean,
I'm
I'm
gonna
a
tell you,
coach, so yeah.
yeah, your coach us, and that's the thing. I call myself a coach at work too, like being a teacher, because I feel like coaches can give it to you a little bit more real, and it's okay, right? You don't have to
Yeah,
be as so. Even though you still are, you know who you're working with, right? You cater your
right.
even your coaching personality to your clients, so we know how that goes. But I love it. I love the real talk. So let me ask you, let me play this game with you. I'm just gonna say a word and you're no nonsense. So you're gonna just tell me the first word that comes to mind. If you feel like you want to explain it, do, but you don't have to. All right. If you could
Okay.
just say the one word. So GLP-1s, what's the first word that comes to mind when I say that?
Help,
Help, good. What about fitness?
necessary,
What about compound?
if if available, like, whatever if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do.
What about family?
Oh, valuable.
Valuable, because we didn't say you have 4 children, right? You got let me see. I wrote this down because I saw you talking about it. Where did I write this down at? I wrote down the ages. So you have correct me if I'm wrong, you have a 32-year-old, a 28-year-old, and 2 twins, a boy and a girl that are 17.
Yes.
So this is
Yes,
a
yes,
busy
yes.
lady. This is a busy lady, right? And then, so what's the first word that comes to your mind when you think about menopause?
The devil. Gosh!
Jeez Louise, you said it's causing all kind of confusion in our bodies, isn't it?
Oh
Oh my
my
goodness.
gosh. Yes, yes.
What about maintenance? Maintenance. What's
Um,
the word?
when I think about maintenance, I think about, I would say, like, support, stability, you know?
Ability, support. That's a good
Yeah.
word. What about makeup?
I love makeup.
You gotta go to her channel. If some of I'm sure a lot of my watchers are subscribers and people that enjoy me also enjoy you because a lot of these, people, are watching us all, right? And taking here and there from bits and pieces from everybody. So I think that's cool. But okay, so my last word is YouTube.
I love YouTube, actually. I love YouTube. I'm learning YouTube. YouTube is scary, but it's a fun kinda scary because you're putting yourself out there for the world, and you don't always know how you're gonna be received or how you're gonna be perceived. You just have to trust that, as you open yourself up and share yourself with the world, that the people who need it are going to find. It's like YouTube, if you build it, they'll come, right? Like, it's
Very true.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you 2 more things because I know you gotta get out of here. So my first thing is, can you tell me what word would you use to describe yourself before the GLP-1? Like, what word described you and how you were feeling?
Um, just uncomfortable in my own skin. Like, just uncomfortable, just ugh. If that's the ugh emoji. I don't even know. Like, that's how the ugh emoji.
Just didn't feel
That
like
one.
yourself. Well, you talk a lot about your back hurting and your knees, so I can relate. So I get it. That's a great word. What about how do you feel now after taking the GLP-1? What word would you use to describe yourself?
Free. I
Free.
feel
That's a
free.
good word.
Yes. Yep.
You
I
feel
feel free.
free.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you. I want to ask you. You told us about your sports. What teams did you play for on the WNBA and all the sports?
So I played when the league first started. So I was on the very
Okay.
first WNBA championship teams, the Houston Comets.
Oh,
We
wow.
won the first 4 championship teams. So I was a part of the first 2, 96 and 90, no, 97 and 98. So I played for Houston for 2 years. I played for Orlando, and then I played for Miami, and then I went overseas. I didn't like overseas, so I came home.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So you've been an athlete for just pretty much for your whole adult life,
Yeah. And
pretty
I started playing
much.
basketball when I was 8. Yep. And I retired when I was 28.
Oh, wow. Geez
Yeah.
Louise. Well, thank you. Well, we're gonna head over to your channel, subscribe to Pivot Your
Yes.
Way to Health. It also could be we were looking at this before we started, we were talking. What's your handle name? Miss Yolanda?
I am Yolanda Moore. I am
I am Yolanda.
Yolanda Moore. Yeah,
Okay,
I am Yolanda Moore.
okay.
Alright.
We're also gonna
Yep.
put your link in the description. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll text you.
Thank
We gotta
you.
hang out again. It's been
Yes,
fun.
yes,
I love your
yes, yes,
no
yes.
nonsense. I love your no nonsense approach. I do. I love it. I think a lot of us need honesty, and some people, like you say, all can't handle the brutal truth, but sometimes we do need to hear it in a loving way. I will say,
Yeah,
right? Which I
yeah.
think you on your channel. So good
No,
luck
I
to you in
appreciate
all
that.
you do. But we will see each
Thank
other
you.
around these YouTube streets.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for having me. Alright.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Alright,
Bye-bye.
bye.